Progressive in his theory and aggressive in his delivery, Jamie Lewis is one of the best and most underrated writers in the strength and bodybuilding industry. Lewis is a self-proclaimed asshole, but when it comes to strength and raw power, Jamie Lewis not only talks the talk, he's one of the few who clearly walks the walk, setting world records and, for a time, ranked number 2 by Powerlifting Watch in the 181-pound class, in a sport he openly disdains, just to prove a point. Operating in the long-ignored corners of the internet, his blog, formerly known as Chaos and Pain, was rebranded Plague of Strength, and it contains 15 years of some of the most unapologetically brutal, intelligent, irreverent, laugh-out-loud funny and extremely motivating articles ever written on strength, physical culture, and nutrition. Lewis displays little tolerance for the minefield of bullshit and misinformation that constitutes the modern-day weightlifting landscape, and his blog is one of the few hardcore lifting sites unfettered by ads disguised as articles, misdirecting the days to confuse masses into parting with more of their hard-earned cash for the next big miracle pill, gadget, or routine. Needless to say, Lewis's style isn't for most. His liberal use of invective and political incorrectness appeals to the psychology of the hardcore meathead, and he's built a cult following for those sick of lies masquerading as information and free of the corporate tarnish. His Issuance of Insanity series is 3 books, information dense at close to 400 pages, and structured around a number of overarching themes. It's a manifesto tying Lewis's ever-evolving philosophy of training and nutrition for both the long-time reader or gym newbie. Unlike most training manuals, his writing style is never dry or dogmatic, and Lewis possesses that rare gift of being able to entertain the reader while educating them at the same time. The depth and scope of this book is amazing, and a quick skim of the contents will give you more ideas of the topics he covers. In the opening pages, Lewis expounds on his chaos and pain training philosophy, detailing the methods behind his ensuing madness. Driven by artistic unconventionality, the chaos part of Lewis's equation is based largely on a lifter's intuition, self-regulation, and honesty in pushing themselves to their limits. The practical application involves lots of frequency, low reps, high volume, and sustained uncompromising effort. Forget the cookie-cutter templates, set routines, and percentage-based lifting. Under the chaos and pain philosophy, trial and error experimentation unfolds its own form of organic progression. The intensity of this insanity is deliberately applied, however, and Lewis never advocates going to failure or beyond just for the sake of hardcore posturing. Lewis is heavily influenced by the methods of strongmen of old, as well as the theories and practices included in the historical, anthropological, and sociological record. History, Lewis asserts, shows us that it's by and large extreme effort that produces extreme results, so one can't fault their genetics for what is in essence their failure to succeed due to a failure of will. Espousing that nobody got better at anything by doing less of it, Lewis reveals through numerous cited examples indicating that the human body can not only handle a hell of a lot more punishment than your average trainee dishes out, but that we also benefit and thrive adapting by doing so. Developing a positive mental environment is likewise essential, and Lewis devotes a lot of space to getting your fucking head right as a fundamental variable for improving anything moving forward. Lewis holds particular disdain for people like Mike Menser and Stuart McRobert, who have been leading proponents for perpetuating the spectre of overtraining, and Lewis's roasting of the aforementioned is one of the book's more humorous highlights. Overtraining, Lewis asserts, is a concept overused, misapplied, redundant, and ultimately inhibits the full development of strength by saddling the trainee with limiting beliefs. Deeper in, Lewis outlines a number of exercises for excellence as he's a big believer that function dictates form. These lifts are probably ones you don't see being practiced in the gym on a daily basis, but they aren't esoteric for the sake of content. Lifts such as Steinborn squats, Zerchers, back to squat press and swingers, to name just a few, were performed by past greats and have given way to the appeal of laziness disguised as chrome machines and pink dumbbells. In the section on programming for preeminence, Lewis critiques the popular 5x5 programs, vindicates the use of heavy partials, throws in an arm routine or two, and reveals the secret behind building some brutal traps. Now I'm skating over a whole bunch of topics here because there's a serious load of content that will bear repeated reading in order to glean the full gamut of tips, advice, and training wisdom contained within. So who is this book exactly useful for? Well, this should be mandatory reading for anyone and everyone who wants to make lifting a serious hobby. I'd like to say that puss boys need not apply, but in all seriousness, puss boys need to be battered over the head with a work such as this, so they can either course correct or stop wasting precious gym space, occupying equipment better off in the hands of people who know what and why they're there for. I definitely recommend this for experienced lifters who've been in the game for a while, because Lewis cuts through the acres of bullshit and misinformation that this demographic have been exposed to and often confused by, clearing a path to a destination and, more importantly, the mindset of what works and what doesn't. The beginner will also benefit from being set on a road of self-discovery and provided with a more discerning philosophy earlier on in their journey. I wish that I had access to this kind of information when I started out, because I had to go through years of wasting time using Mensa, HIT and Stuart McRobert programs before I realised I was shortchanging my progress and spinning my wheels on a recumbent bike bound for Sucksville. Although I was never the calibre of lifter that Lewis was, I won my own battles here and there as a result of applying his philosophy to my own lifting, because knowing something can be done is a battle half won in my mind. While parts of the series are possibly too advanced for the newbie to pick up and run with, these books ultimately provide the advice necessary to enable everyone from the beginner to the advanced lifter to achieve their goals. Volume 2 dives more into reinforcing the concepts from the first book, using examples from physical culture, history, and esoterica. I maintain that you'll be forever a two-dimensional lifter until you at least familiarise yourself with the great names of lifting history, as it enriches your knowledge and appreciation, connecting you with icons and their methods from the past. Jamie's list of bad motherfucker biographies is worth the price of this volume alone. Volume 3 switches gears with some much appreciated information on diet, nutrition, and supplementation. An even bigger misinformation minefield than training, I thought the feed the machine approaches for hitting weight or body recomposition goals were excellent. Lewis's observation that dieting keeps you focused on training and vice versa tied in well with recommending short-term competition goals to constantly create a sense of immediacy driving you forward. Facing a competitive deadline, be it a powerlifting or bodybuilding contest, is the rocket fuel to creating the discernible results that most people spinning their wheels due to competitive inaction never see. Lewis presents diets for one's ever-evolving goals, and they're not your usual cookie-cutter chicken and rice 6 times per day bullshit. I personally love to try out new training methods and strategically cycle everything from calories, number of meals, macros, etc. to keep my body adapting, and I've been using his Feast, Famine and Fury diet with some amazing results which I will feature in a future video. While bland consistency might be one road to progressive improvement, keeping the mind fresh with new approaches and the tactical use of different training and dieting methods will definitely help maintain your sanity in a decades-long game of Groundhog Day, minus the psychological boredom and burnout that many can experience. It's so refreshing to read something that's not the same old rehashed shit, as well as being laugh-out-loud entertaining and informative. And it's not just Lewis being contrarian for the point of being different from a marketing perspective either. Lewis has researched the crap out of everything that he espouses and puts into practice for himself for others to consider, sample, and apply at their discretion. In short, he lays it out across 3 volumes in a chaotically easy to follow but painful to execute blueprint for success. You simply supply the effort and the sweat and let the chips fall where they may. It's inarguable that he deals you some very effective ace cards in these works, so it's up to you to step up and play them. If I could recommend one training book to place on your reading bucket list, it would be this one. And I defy you to skim this before a workout and not be driven to put up a PR that very session. So tell me in the comments below, what do you think of Jamie Lewis's work? Have you tried any of his methods and how have they worked for you? If you're interested in having me as your online coach or wish to organise a one-off consultation, please hit me up in the links in the description. Thanks again for watching.